Imagine a ship full of people who train their whole lives to heal, forced to decide how far they'll go to protect that promise. The tension in humans, Deathworlders, always fascinated me. Today's story is about someone who comes from a brutal planet and still chooses kindness as their primary weapon. It really makes you wonder what those same instincts look like when someone fires on a red cross and means it. How do you hold on to mercy when the smart play is to shoot first? So, as you settle in and let your day slide into the background, imagine this with me. Out in the dark, there's a white ship named Solace. It carries no battleship pride, just quiet corridors, tired nurses, patients from a dozen worlds, and a captain who still believes that hospital should mean something. And tonight, that ship is about to be tested. No warning, no negotiation that matters. Just 3 raider vessels deciding that medicine, power cells, and frightened bodies are worth more than an ancient promise. You're on board when the first shot hits. You're there when Red Protocol wakes up. Not to turn Solace into a warship, but into something stranger. A place that will stand its ground. Outthink its attackers. A place that will stand its ground. Outthink its attackers. A believed fear. Outmayond of the pale star. And mass reading moved where no ship, and still refused to become what it fears. In the dark between stars, there is a ship that does not carry guns as its first answer. It carries stretchers, medicine, and quiet people who have seen too much pain to enjoy causing more. Its name is Solace. Its hull is bright white in a universe of black and rusted metal. Along its sides, huge red crosses glow like twin suns. A promise made to every species. If you get here alive, someone will try to keep you that way. For a long time, everyone respected that promise, until the Night 3 raider ships decided that a hospital was just another target. This is the story of how a crew of healers chose to stand their ground, protect their patients, and still refuse to become what they feared. This is Solace, under attack, and you are on board. Solace moved slowly through the dark, like a lantern on a calm sea. From far away, it looked simple. A long white body, a glowing blue spine of engines, and wide shield rings that turned around the hull in a gentle spin. But up close, tiny windows shone with soft gold light. Inside those windows, life went on in quiet patterns. In Ward 6, Dr. Elaine Marlowe sat on a low rolling stool beside a small bed. On the bed lay a child from a cool water world called Tyrene. The child's skin was a pale green, thin as leaves. After rain, 8 fingers curled around a plush toy shaped like a star. "You're still doing great, Kale, Doctor," Marlowe said. Her voice was calm, steady. Last stitch now. Kale's wide, dark eyes watched her hands. A cut ran from shoulder to elbow, where falling cargo had torn the skin 3 days before on a broken station. Now, under white light, Dr. Marlowe's fingers moved with sure speed. Needle in, needle out, smooth and careful. It doesn't even hurt anymore, Cale said. Their accent clipped the words, but the relief in the voice was clear. That's the idea, Dr. Marlowe said. We're the pain thieves. We sneak in, steal it, and never give it back. A soft laugh bubbled up from the bed. The monitor above flickered green lines, heartbeat slow and steady. On the far side of the room, a window showed the stars. They did not twinkle here. They were cold, sharp points between the steady glow of distant nebulae. Nurse Sierra Brooks stood by the door, checking a slim tablet. Sierra had shaved hair on one side, tight curls on the other, and a small silver stud in her nose. She glanced up, smiled at Cale, then tapped in a note. Vitals look solid, she said. We'll move you to recovery in 10 minutes, kiddo. Then you can terrorize the playroom again. Cale grinned. The blocks are too easy. I finished a big tower in 4 minutes. Then we'll just have to find harder blocks, Sierra answered. It's in the rules. Dr. Marlowe tied the last knot and snipped the thread. The cut was now a neat line, closed and clean. There, she said, peeling off her gloves. You'll have a scar. It may look cool. Tell your friends a big story about how you got it. Maybe leave out the part about falling off a crate. Cale looked slightly embarrassed. I slipped in 0G, Sierra said. Everyone slips in 0. Even us so-called smart adults. Outside Ward 6, the main corridor was wide, bright and quiet. The air smelled faintly of disinfectant and citrus. Thin blue lines ran along the floor, guiding staff and patients to surgery, imaging, recovery, counseling, and rest bays. Every few meters, soft signs in many languages glowed. Breathe. You are safe. Ask for help. On the bridge, Captain Elias Ward sat in the central chair, not quite leaning back, not quite forward. His posture said, ready without saying tense. A ripple of gray touched the dark hair at his temples. He wore a simple navy uniform with a white collar and a silver emblem of Solace on his chest. All routes clear? He asked. His helm's officer, a four-armed Oler named Sareth, turned 2 eyes from the controls while the other 2 kept watch on the star charts. Hyperspace lanes, stable, Sareth said softly. Exit point in 12 hours. Frontier System N, 327 reports. Local skirmishes, but nothing near our path. Any distress calls? Captain Ward asked. Only a minor one from a supply tug, Sareth said. Already answered by a patrol ship. Sareth paused, then added, Our reputation still works, Captain. No one is coming near a marked hospital ship. For their sake and ours, Ward said. He glanced at the large screen ahead. Stars slid by, stretched and strange while the ship moved along the outer layer of hyperspace. There was no sense of speed on board. No shaking, no roar. Just a soft hum under the floor and a feeling like being gently carried. Dr. Arjun Patel stepped onto the bridge with a quiet nod. He wore a white coat over his uniform, and his dark hair was pulled back at the nape of his neck. A small hollow screen floated above his wrist, showing graphs and numbers. "Shield readings?" Ward asked without looking away from the display. "Nominal, Dr. Send," Patel replied. "Outer meteor layer at 87%. Inner energy shield at 94. We can take a pretty serious storm and still keep the coffee warm. The coffee is mission critical," Ward said. The corner of his mouth lifted. "You've made that clear." Arjun smiled. "I keep telling people, if you want humans calm, keep us caffeinated and give us something to fix." He stood beside the captain, eyes scanning his data. Life support is stable. Medical power grid is balanced. Red protocol remains on standby, but I've run the drill twice today. With the AI, response time is within margin. Sereth glanced back. Red protocol, always ready for the crisis that never comes. "That's the point," Ward said. "If we do our jobs well, people forget we had to prepare." Far below the bridge, in the observation deck, a half circle of glass showed the starfield like a slow-moving painting. Patients who could walk came here when they were restless. Others came in hover chairs or with quiet drones to assist them. Today, only a few sat at the wide windows. An old human miner with a chest patch that read Gibson. A pair of scaled twins from a desert moon, their eyes glittering at the sight of cold light. A thin woman with metallic lines along her skin. A cyborg named Lyra Venn leaned back on a cushioned bench, eyes closed, face turned toward the stars. She listened to the faint, steady heartbeat of the ship, the airflow, the gentle whir of the gravity rings, the low chime when the AI announced shift change in 30 minutes in a dozen tongues. Nurse Brooks entered with a tray of drinks and a relaxed stride. Tea, nutrient broth, actual, honest cocoa, she called, and water, because hydration is the secret boss of all health. Gibson raised a hand. "Cocoa," Doctor said. "I could have sugar, as long as my heart monitor doesn't try to escape my chest." "Doctor's orders, huh?" Sierra said as she handed him a warm cup. "Then we must obey. I'm sure that's written somewhere in the grand rules of space." Lyra opened her eyes. They were gray and sharp, but tired. "Do you ever get used to it?" Lyra asked. "All this," she gestured with a faint hand toward the stars. "Being out here, where if something goes wrong, help is days away." Sierra thought for a moment. "Humans come from a planet that tried to kill us every other Tuesday," she said lightly. "Storms, quakes, predators, diseases. We survive because our bodies and brains got really good at staying calm under pressure." Lyra tipped her head. "Deathworlder." "Yeah," Sierra said. "They call us that. Species from kind planets think our home was a horror show." She smiled, but her eyes were kind. "They're not totally wrong. But that toughness is not just for fighting. It also means our hands don't shake when someone is bleeding. Our minds don't shut down when we see a new disease. We stay and we work, even when it's scary." Lyra studied the white hall beyond the glass. You chose to come here, to a ship that moves into all the broken places. Some people chase adventure, Sierra said, handing her a cup of broth. We chase people who need help. Above them, on the engineering level, Dr. Patel stood before a projection of Solace's systems. Layers of shields, power lines, atmosphere zones, and medical bays glowed in neat colors. Run a drill, he said to the ship's AI. Scenario 12, hull breach, deck 5, no attack, meteor impact. Confirmed, the AI replied in a calm, gender-neutral voice, beginning simulation. At once, the lights along the wall pulsed gently. Not sharp, not frightening. A soft tone sounded every 10 seconds. Attention, staff, the AI said. Training simulation in progress. No danger to patients. Repeat. No danger to patients. On his panel, Patel watched doors seal in the sim. Shields harden in that area. Air being moved out of the risk zone and replaced with safe backup pockets. Staff icons moved along planned routes, responding with practice speed. Solace was built by Deathworlders, but it was not a warship. Even its safety systems moved with a healer's mind. In a crisis, Dr. Patel had once told a group of new recruits, the goal is not to fight. The goal is to control the damage, control the fear, control ourselves. That is how people live. Now, as the false alert passed and the lights steadied again, he saved the results, made a small note about improving door speed by 0.2 seconds, and felt a quiet satisfaction. The quiet heart of Solace kept beating steady between worlds, carrying its fragile cargo of lives. No one on board knew yet that the rules were about to change. The change began as a small, strange signal on the outer scanners. On the bridge, the starfield rolled slowly, calm and distant. Sereth watched the hyperspace readings, 4 hands resting light on the controls. Captain Ward sipped cooling coffee, eyes half on the screen, half on a status board that showed medical load. 312 patients, 97 staff, 43 visitors. Colors beside each bar, green, green, calm blue. Captain Sereth said, 2 eyes narrowing, picking up an object ahead on the exit lane. No official transponder, very low power. Pirates don't usually park right on the road, Ward said. Range. Still fuzzy, Sereth replied. Signal drifts in and out. Might be debris. Might be a ship running dark. Flag it, Ward said. Well, get a better look when we drop. The plan was simple. Solace would exit hyperspace in 6 hours near a small frontier system. Pick up wounded from a mining accident. Drop off stabilized patients. Move on. That was how most weeks went. Quiet routine, with the same smooth movements carried out again and again. 4 hours later, the object was no longer far away. Captain, I have 3 signatures, Sereth said. Now there was no uncertainty in the voice. They are matching us on the lane. Running dark, but I can see engine ghosts. They are trying not to be seen. Captain Ward set his cup down slowly. Bridge to Dr. Patel, he said. Arjun, I need current shield status and your best guess. Could this be a mistake? Could this be a mistake? Patel's voice came back at once from engineering. Shields are green across the board, and in this sector, 3 dark signatures following a hospital ship is not a mistake. Could be security escort, Sareth said. But even as they spoke, the data scrolled. No, not registered. No IDs. Captain, I do not like this. Neither do I, Ward said, but no panic. They have not fired. Maybe they just want to look at us. Sareth's lower hands tapped a sequence, dropping out of hyperspace in 3 minutes. Well, see them more clearly then. Across the ship, the AI announced minor hyperspace transition in 3 minutes, no action required. In Ward 6, Dr. Khan, no action required here. In Ward 6, Dr. Marlowe finished checking Kale's chart. The child slept now, soft breaths, even and slow. Sierra adjusted the blanket, tucking it around narrow shoulders. Transition soon, Sierra said. You remember your first time, Doctor? Threw up on my own shoes, Marlowe said. Fortunately, the floorbots were kind about it. They shared a small smile and went back to work. Nurses moved through rows of beds. Monitors beeped softly. Somewhere, a baby of an unknown species cried, then quieted when a caregiver hummed. In the observation deck, Lyra Venn felt the slight shift as the ship prepared to leave hyperspace. It was like stepping from a moving walkway onto solid ground. Most patients could not feel it at all, but she had a chest full of tuned metal. To her, the change was clear. The change was clear. She opened her eyes in time to see the stars stretch and then snap back into crisp points. A pale blue planet shone far off, thin rings bright against the black. Beautiful, she breathed. Then 3 sharp shapes slid into view near Solace's bow. On the bridge, alarms began to chime. Sareth said, voice tighter now. Config matches radar profiles, deliberately blocking our course. Raise the red flags, Ward said. Broadcast our status. All channels. Aye, Sareth replied. Hands flying, transmitting now. The Solace emblem, red cross on white, flashed from the ship in clear, simple code. Along with it, a message repeated in trade, in human standard, in a dozen common tongues. Hospital ship, protected status, non-combatant. Request safe passage. The raider ships did not answer. They moved closer, black holes jagged and bristling with gear. No friendly identifiers, no medical symbols, just dull paint and scars where other weapons had burned them. Dr. Patel, Ward said quietly, bring red protocol to ready. Do not engage, do not frighten anyone yet, but be ready. Initiating pre-lock, Dr. Patel replied, shield amplifiers charging. Medical bays preparing for seal. Weapons on cold standby. Solace did have weapons, not many, and not made to tear ships apart. Installed almost with shame, after too many warnings that not everyone respected old rules. Non-lethal beams. Ion lances tuned to shut down power, not cook metal. Drones with stun charges and shield projectors. All tucked away behind bright white panels. On a side channel, Ward said, "AI, record everything from this moment." "Recording," the AI answered. The first shot hit without any warning. From the lead raider, a lance of energy spat out, bright and sharp. It did not go for the engines. It struck Solace's side, just forward of the midline. The whole ship rang with the impact. In Ward 6, the lights flickered once. Kale woke with a start, clutching their toy. "What was that?" Kale gasped. "Stay calm," Sierra said at once, putting a hand on the child's shoulder. "Probably just a micrometeor. This ship can take worse than that in its sleep." On the bridge, Sareth hissed. "Direct hit to outer hull. No warning shot, Captain." They fired on a marked ship. "Shields?" Ward asked. "Outer meteor shield down to 63% in that sector," Dr. Patel answered, voice harder now. "Inner energy shield still at full. No breach, but that was not a test shot. That was live." Captain Ward stood up. His voice, when he spoke, was calm and clear. "This is Captain Elias Ward of Solace," he said, on all open channels. "You have just attacked a protected medical ship. We carry wounded civilians from 17 species. Further fire will be a war crime under every known code. Stand down. You will receive medical aid if needed. You will not be harmed if you leave now." The raiders answered with a second shot. No, a second shot. This time it came from a different angle, striking the bow. Shields flared, light washing over the screens. Some of the bridge crew flinched, but Sareth's hands were steady. "Enough," Ward said softly. "Red protocol. Full activation." The AI's tone changed, deep but still gentle. "Attention staff," it announced throughout the ship. "Red protocol is now active. This is not a drill. Please follow all instructions. Patience. Remain where you are. You are protected." Across Solace, doors began to slide shut. In some halls, soft barriers of light appeared, marking new limits. And yet the system had been built by healers. There were no harsh alarms, no screaming sirens, just a calm chime and clear, simple words. In Ward 6, Sierra's tablet vibrated. "Red protocol," she told Dr. Marlowe. Her voice stayed even. "We have to seal. Let's move stable patients away from the outer walls. Keep everyone lying down." Kale's eyes were huge. "Are we going to die?" Dr. Marlowe sat on the bed, close enough that Kale could see the steady rise and fall of her chest. "Kale," she said gently, looking them in the eyes, "our job is to stop people from dying. That includes you. That includes me. That includes everyone on this ship. So what we are going to do is follow our plan. We practiced it many times. This is just another drill with a bit more noise. She nodded to Sierra, who began guiding staff in quiet movements. Beds rolled deeper into the ward, away from the line of the probable impact. Portable shields stored in the ceiling slid down around the most fragile patients, forming transparent shells. On the bridge, the display changed. New lines appeared, safe corridors, sealed sectors, power paths rerouted away from the hull to keep medical bays running even if the outer layers were smashed. Dr. Patel watched it all from engineering. His fingers flew across the controls, rerouting extra power to shield amplifiers, he said. But not from life support. We're pulling from engines instead. Well, drift, Ward replied. I can live with drifting. I cannot live with losing anyone due to power cuts and surgery. Understood, Patel said. Non-lethal systems are hot. Ion lances at 50% charge and rising. The raider ships split. 2 moved to flank Solace. The 3rd hung back, scanning. Sereth's panels lit with incoming code. Captain, they're broadcasting now, Sereth said. Short-range band. Very simple. Stand still and prepare for boarding. Hand over valuable supplies. Comply, and fewer will be harmed. Ward let out a slow breath. They attacked a hospital ship and opened with a threat, he said. Red Protocol Level 2. We will not surrender patients or critical supplies. We will defend, but we will not aim to kill. Level 2 confirmed, the AI said. Non-lethal engagement authorized. Lethal force remains restricted to last resort scenarios, as defined in Code 7A. Throughout the ship, panels in the walls clicked. Small hatches rotated open. Defense drones, usually quiet spheres with soft blue lights, lit up brighter and flew into the halls. Their guiding AI spoke to them in tight bursts of data, assigning routes and tasks in sensitive areas like neonatal care and critical surgery. Thick armored shutters slid into place over the outer walls. In others, shields formed invisible curtains across doors, coded to only let authorized staff pass. Nurse Brooks watched a drone hover near the ward door. Brooks, Sierra, it said in a clear, neutral tone, assigned as local guardian. Non-lethal force ready. Please mark any patients who cannot be moved. Sierra raised her tablet. Already done, she said. Focus on holding this entry. No stray shots near the beds. In counseling and common areas, staff spoke to patients in calm, direct words. You are safe, a therapist told a small group of frightened refugees. This ship was built for storms. People from the harshest world you can imagine designed it. The staff trained for this. Your job now is simple. Breathe, listen, and stay where we tell you. Let us do our work. Back on the bridge, the first raider ship began a close pass, circling Solace. Like a hungry animal, they're scanning for weak points, Sereth said. Show them what they want to see, Ward answered. Drop visible shield levels by 10% in sectors with decoy armor. Quietly move extra power to the real weak spots. Patel smiled despite himself as he carried out the order. The weak spots on Solace were fake panels over thickest armor. The ship was designed not just to survive storms, but to mislead people who thought it was defenseless. As power shifted, Ward touched a control and opened a new channel. This time straight to the raiders. "This is Captain Ward of Solace," he said, voice cool but not angry. "You are targeting a hospital under Red Cross pact. You have already broken the oldest rule. We will defend our patients. We will not seek to kill you. Turn away now, and you will be treated for injuries and allowed to leave after authorities arrive." Static hissed for a moment. Then a rough voice answered, "Old rules don't keep our crews fed." The raider leader said, "You carry medicine, power cells, and rich bodies. You're just a slow ship with pretty lights. Stand down, Doctor." The channel cut. At the same moment, the second raider fired a cluster of projectiles at Solace's midsection. "Brace Sareth," called. They were not just weapons. They were boarding claws, heavy hooks with cutting drills, and cables meant to attach and tear open paths. Shields flared. 2 claws bounced off and spun away into space, tumbling, but 3 managed to bite and hold. Boarding claws locked. "Doctor, not doctor," Patel said. Outer hull integrity dropping at those points. "They're cutting in." Ward's eyes stayed on the display. "We knew this day might come," he said softly. "All right, we do this our way. No panic, no hate. Contain them away from the wards. Let them see what a ship full of Deathworlder healers can really do." Behind Solace's white walls, hidden defense grids powered up. The red crosses still glowed, bright as ever. But now, the symbol of safety sat on a ship that had just been told, with live fire, that its old protection no longer mattered. Red Protocol was fully awake. The first claw bit through the outer hull with a grinding roar. Metal screamed. The vibration ran through the bones of Solace, a harsh shudder that even the dampers could not fully hide. In Ward 6, a few patients gasped. A glass of water tipped over on a bedside table. "Stay down," Sierra called. "Everyone stay in beds. We're not the place they want." Doctor stood. Marlowe moved from bed to bed, checking straps, making sure no one was loose or free to panic. Her face was calm, her hands steady. Inside, her pulse thudded faster, but she kept her breathing slow. On the bridge, Sareth watched the claw icons blink on the 3D model of the ship. 3 successful attachments, Sareth said. Deck 7, port side. Deck 9, starboard. Deck 10, aft. Boarding expected on those points within 90 seconds. Doctor 2, those points within 90 seconds. Doctor 2, Patel added from engineering. Inner hull cutters detected. Isolate those decks, Captain Ward ordered. Seal all routes leading toward critical medical bays. Open only the corridors we want them to use. Rerouting now, Patel said. On the model, parts of the ship turned red, orange, or green. Red, sealed. Orange bait corridors. preset with traps and defenses. Green, safe routes hidden behind solid doors and shield locks. Defense drones, Ward said. Phase A. Herding pattern confirmed, the AI responded, assigning drones to border corridors. Non-lethal options armed. Stun level set to heavy. Lethal discharges locked. Deep inside Solace, hatches opened. Dozens of small drones floated out. Spheres and discs, some the size of a fist, others as large as a person's torso. Soft blue lights blinked awake. They moved with smooth, flowing paths, like a school of fish turning in unison. Each knew its area. Each knew which doors must not be crossed by hostile feet. On Deck 7, a circular interior hatch bulged as something pounded from the other side. Then the cut completed, and the disc of metal fell inward with a dull clang. The first raider through wore patchwork armor, plates from 3 different suits welded together, a jagged emblem painted on the chest. 4 arms, each carrying a weapon. 2 crude rifles, a hooked blade, a short-range cutting torch. The raider landed in Solace's white corridor and paused, shocked by the brightness. The air smelled clean, fresh, almost sweet. The walls were smooth. The floor lines glowed soft blue. Behind the leader, more raiders climbed through the breach. A dozen at first, then 2 dozen. Boots stomped, metal scraped. Voices barked in harsh, mixed languages. Move, find stores, find control. Their helmets showed them a map from their ship, a rough scan of Solace's interior. That map, however, had been carefully altered by Dr. Patel weeks ago, in case anyone tried to read it from outside. It showed fake routes to high-value cargo that did not exist. Left, the leader shouted. There's the main shaft. Medical vaults, 2 decks down. They charged left, trusting the false map. As they moved, hidden sensors in the walls counted them. The AI tracked their numbers, weapons, speed. Group Alpha, 21 hostiles, the AI reported to Patel. Deck 7, Corridor 12, moving inward along path Orange 3. Confirmed, Patel said, activating countermeasures along Orange 3. No lethal traps. Panels overhead opened in silence. Tiny pods slid out and latched onto the ceiling. The raiders, busy watching ahead, did not look up. Further down, a tall human figure stood alone, dressed in light armor marked with a small red cross. This was Security Officer Han, one of the few on Solace whose main job was actual defense. A stun baton hung at Han's hip. A compact pistol, set to stun only, rode on the other side. Behind Han, a transparent shield shimmered, blocking the path toward a critical medical stairwell. The raiders saw Han and laughed. One guard, someone jeered. On a whole ship. Drop your weapons, Han called. The voice was even, no trace of fear. You are trespassing on a medical vessel under protected status. This is your final warning. The leader raised a rifle. Or what, little medic? He shouted. You'll bandage us to death." He fired. The rifle spat a bolt of energy straight at Han's chest. The bolt hit the air 5 meters in front of Han and flared into nothing. A wide, invisible barrier, preset by Patel, flickered faintly, absorbing the shot. "Ah," Han said, "that's what." Then everything happened very fast. The pods in the ceiling pulsed it. A wave of dense, high-frequency sound surged down the hall, tuned to stun but not kill. It vibrated through helm plates into inner ears and brain stems. Raiders dropped to one knee, some to both, weapons shaking. At the same time, floor panels under their boots sent out a sharp burst of electromagnetic noise, scrambling cheap weapon circuits. Rifle lights died. Targeting scopes flickered out. Half the raiders fell over, hands on their helmets, groaning. The other half staggered, disoriented. Han moved. The baton came up, crackling with blue stun energy. Steps quick and controlled. First strike, a clean hit to a raider's forearm. Armor conducted the shock inward. The weapon dropped. Second strike, a short jab under another raider's ribs, enough to knock the breath out and send the body crashing into 2 more. This was not a wild fight. It looked like a practiced dance. Each move was meant to end a threat in the simplest way, with the least damage possible. Further back as planned, drones moved in. 2 larger ones deployed curved shields, sliding between fallen raiders and the path to the medical stairwell. Smaller drones darted around, firing precise stun pulses at hands reaching for weapons, containment at 70%. The AI reported, "No live fire from hostiles. Vitalize, stable. No fatalities." "Good," Patel said softly. "Keep them breathing. Keep them away from the patients." On deck 9, another claw had punched in. The group that entered here was led by Korak Vesh. Korak was tall and heavy, with dark, bark-like skin and a row of small horn nubs along his brow. His people came from a high-gravity planet with deadly storms. Some called them Deathworlders too, though from a different hell than Earth's. He wore real armor, not scrap. His helmet visor showed a scan of the hall, heat signatures, power lines, doors. His squad moved with discipline, not chaos. Shields and walls, Korak noted grimly, layered. "They're not stupid. Stay tight. Watch the doors. No stray fire. They might be hiding explosives near their own sick." A younger raider at his side snorted. "Who protects a hospital with fake shields?" Korak did not answer. He had seen a lot in this part of space. More than once, he had heard stories of human Deathworlder. Ships, tough, clever, relentless. He had assumed those were warships. He had not expected those traits on a hospital. They moved forward, weapons up. The hall was painfully bright and clean, like no place Korak had ever boarded. Soft signs glowed on the walls. "Breathe. You are safe, safe," he muttered. For who? He did not want this job. But the deal had been made. His crew was hungry. The backers who funded their ships did not care about sacred symbols. They cared about cargo. Intersection ahead, one of his scouts said. Left is marked as supply. Right shows as crew quarters. Down the middle, heavier power readings. We go where the power is, Korak decided. Power means control. They advanced. 3 meters before the intersection, a woman's voice sounded from the ceiling. A woman's voice sounded from the ceiling. You are approaching a sealed medical sector, the AI said calmly. Stop now. Lay down your weapons. You will not be harmed. Turn back, and you may leave with your lives. Turn it off. A raider growled. I can't, the tech replied. It's everywhere. We do not turn back, Korak said louder. He looked up at the nearest camera dome. You're a hospital. You won't kill us. You can't stop us. I am designed to save lives, the AI answered. Stopping you from hurting others is part of that design. The floor lights ahead changed from blue to amber. Korak's instinct screamed. Shields. Shields, he barked. Up. His front line raised personal shields, just as a burst of thick foam blasted from hidden wall nozzles. It splashed across the corridor, hardening in seconds into a sticky, rubbery barrier at knee height. Behind it, a transparent energy wall snapped into place with a low hum. Not a kill trap. A slowdown. Cut it, Korak ordered. His squad's cutter moved up, torch flaring. The foam resisted more than expected. Its mix was tuned to grab and hold, not burn. While they worked, drones appeared in the corners, hovering just out of easy reach. They were not sleek killing machines. They were odd, practical shapes. Discs with multiple emitters, spheres with manipulator arms, a tall cylinder with a riot shield for a face. They all spoke at once, the same calm voice. Stand down. This is your final warning. You are approaching a pediatric care wing. Lethal or explosive weapons will not be allowed past this point. Korak jerked his visor toward his tech. Pediatric. Infant and child care, the tech translated. Voice tight. Some of the crew shifted, uneasy. Korak raised his rifle and aimed at the nearest drone. Fire, he said. He shot. The slug hit the drone's shield and splashed off, sparks flying. The drone jerked back, but held. It returned fire, not with bullets or beams that burned, but with a focused stun pulse. Korak's arms went numb for a second. His rifle dropped from hands that did not respond. Electric nerve disruptor. He gasped. He shook his hands, forcing them to obey. Non-lethal, but strong. They mean it. A raider behind him raised a heavier gun. Stand aside. The raider snarled. He'll clear this with a thermal charge. Do not use thermal near infants, Korak snapped without thinking. He froze. Why did he care? Those were not his young. These were not his people. Yet the idea of burning through a ward full of babies, even alien babies, hit his mind like a fist. For a second he saw his own brother's child, tiny and soft in a cramped storm shelter, far away on his homeworld. We hit stores and power, Korak said, sharper now. We do not hit wards. But the backers aren't here, Korak. Cut in. They don't breathe this air. I do follow my orders or stay on the ship next time. He turned to the ceiling camera again. You blocked our way, he said. That means your map is fake. You pushed us toward the children so we would waste time. Fine. You win this path. Mark it. I won't go that way. There was a small pause. Then the AI answered. Pediatric wing access will remain denied. Alternate routes to non-critical sectors exist. You will still be contained. You think you can herd us like animals. A young raider spat. Drones edged closer, stun ports glowing. Korak bared his teeth. Maybe they can. But we're not done yet. He signaled retreat along this path, back toward another branch of the hall. Interesting, Dr. Patel murmured as he watched. Group Beta leader shows moral hesitation near pediatric ward. Adjust containment. Keep them away from children and high-risk wards, but let them think they still have room to move. Understood, the AI replied, recalculating optimal paths. On deck 10, the third claw opened into a cargo bay. This time, Solace did not meet the raiders with drones or foam. It met them with moving walls. As the first raiders flooded into the bay, bulkhead doors that had looked like solid walls suddenly shifted, sliding sideways to block the view of stacked crates. Another door dropped from the ceiling, slicing their group in half. Transparent, strong as steel. Hey, someone shouted, pounding on it. In the confusion, they did not see the slender figure in a white coat standing behind a crate, half hidden. Dr. Elaine Marlowe watched, lungs tight, as the sealed group on her side turned toward her. Their eyes met hers. She saw greed, yes, but also a flicker of shock. Who puts a doctor in a cargo bay? The answer. A ship that had too many patients to move and not enough pure safe zones left. The bay had been designated as emergency overflow, with some beds and supplies here only minutes before the claws hit. Now Marlowe stood alone between a stack of medical crates and 5 armed raiders. You shouldn't be here, their leader growled, raising a pistol. Neither should you, she said, keeping her voice even. She was not holding a gun. In her hands sat a compact device that looked like a large injector. You won't shoot me, she added. Why not? The raider sneered. Because if you do, you lose your best chance of living through the next 10 minutes? She answered. She held up the device. This is a portable med shield control. Right now, it's the only thing keeping this section from venting. If your friends shoot the wrong bulkhead, you kill me. You lose it. You knock me out. You might break it. You let me talk, we all walk out breathing. She was bluffing. The device was real, but not the only control. Still, the words came out with such flat certainty that even the raider hesitated. Doctor, the AI said quietly in her ear implant. Support is 30 seconds away. Please do not further provoke the hostiles. Working on it, she replied under her breath. The leader snorted. You're lying. Am I? Marlowe said. You already learned this ship has tricks. fake maps, hidden shields. Do you want to bet that we didn't plan for idiots shooting in a pressurized bay full of oxygen tanks and compressed fluids? The Raiders' eyes flicked to the tall silver canisters along the wall. The hazard symbols were clear in any language. You wouldn't put those near a breach point, he said. But there was less force behind it. Deathworlder engineers did, Marlowe said. They trust the shields. They trust the drones. They trust me. Do you trust your aim? Silence. Then the ceiling hatch behind the Raiders opened, and 2 defense drones. Before the Raiders could react, the drones fired overlapping stun bursts. The first Raider dropped. The second managed to pull the trigger, but the shot went wild, spattering harmlessly against the reinforced floor. The others fell in a messy pile, muscles locking, limbs twitching. Marlowe let out a breath she had not realized she was holding. Her hands shook for a second, then steadied. Doctor, Marlowe, Sierra's voice came over the comm. Status? Cargo bay secure, Marlowe answered. 5 Raiders down, all breathing. Send stretchers and cuffs, please. And maybe some fresh scrubs. I think I just aged 10 years. On deck 9, Korak's group took a different path, guided by the false map and by subtle changes in light that the AI used to draw them away from where they could do the most harm. Every time they neared a true medical ward, lights shifted to a harsher color. Shield lines brightened and drones passed tech. Every time they headed toward storage or empty maintenance, the ship forgot to be so threatening. Doors seemed slower to close. There were gaps. Feels like they want us to go this way, his tech muttered once. Good, Korak said. Let them think they're clever. If they want us off their sick, I'll take that deal. The thought surprised him as he said it. But it was true. He had lost enough friends to disease and bad wounds. Strange human doctors had helped a few. Out on some distant station, no questions asked, those memories sat in his mind, stubborn. A sudden tremor shook the hall. Overhead lights flickered. In engineering, Dr. Sigurd. In engineering, Dr. Sigurd. Patel had just sent a surge through the ship's shield amplifiers. Outside, the raider ship that had stayed back was trying a new attack, hammering Solace's bow with steady cannon fire. Outer shield layers on bow dropping to 31%, Patel reported. I'm redirecting extra juice to the inner hull around all breach points. We cannot let them punch through into active wards. Do it, Captain Ward said. How much can we feed to the amplifiers before we brown out in surgery? We're already at the edge, Patel said. If I push more, we start losing non-critical lighting and maybe some comfort systems. Turn them off, Ward replied at once. Drop all non-essential draw. No one needs a hot shower more than they need a working shield right now. Lights across Solace dimmed by a fraction. Decorative panels went dark. The observation deck windows shifted to safety mode, layering polarizing fields over the glass. On the deck, Lyra Ven felt the change in her chest implants. A soft buzz deepened. She watched as a group of staff hustled a row of hover chairs into an interior bay, away from the big window. "Come on," Sierra said, pushing Gibson's chair. "Front row seats are canceled. Interior cabins are in." Gibson coughed. "That bad out there? Bad enough that our engineers want more power than the stars can give." Sierra replied, "Means the adults are busy. Our job is not to add to their problems." "But the raiders," Lyra began. Sierra looked at her. "There are people fighting them," she said. "But not the way you think. We're not trying to win a battle. We're trying to end a crisis with everyone still breathing. Even them, even the raiders." Gibson frowned. "Even them," Sierra said, "as long as that's possible." Back in the corridors, Korak's group finally reached what looked like a prize, a broad door labeled in multiple languages. "Supplies, this must be it," a raider said. Excitement rising. "Food, power cells. Check for traps," Korak ordered. He was learning to respect the minds behind these smooth white walls. His scout scanned the frame. "I see power lines, but nothing unusual." "Open it," Korak said. The moment the door slid aside, a rush of cold air hit them. The room beyond glowed blue-white and frosted. It was not a vault of loose supplies, but a cold storage chamber. Racks and racks of sealed, marked containers filled with blood, organs, vaccines, and other fragile things. A single human stood by the entry, wearing thick gloves and a thermal jacket over a white coat. Patel looked out at them with calm eyes. "Korak Vesh," he said. The raider leader stiffened. "You know my name. We read your ship's ID before you shut it off," Patel said. "You left it on longer than was wise. You have quite a record." "So do you, Doctor," Korak said. "Stories travel. Deathworlder healer. Smart with machines. Everyone says you save lives that shouldn't be saved." Patel's mouth quirked. "That is our job description." "Stand aside," Korak said. "We take what we need, we go. No more trouble." Patel shook his head. "This room," he said, "contains blood and organs matched to current patients. Many will die if you open even one row to normal air and temperature. You are standing in a place where touching the wrong crate is the same as shooting someone on a table 2 decks away." Korak looked at the shelves. He saw labels he could not read, but he understood color codes, temperature warnings, fragile icons. "That's your choice," he said. "We put hope here," Patel said. "We also knew someone might reach for it." His wrist holo pinged softly. "Now," he added, "you are also standing in a net." Before Korak could react, floor segments clicked. Thin, flexible bands snapped up around ankles and wrists, driven by magnetic bursts tuned to react to metal and weapon signatures. His crew cried out as they were suddenly pinned in place. Arms yanked down. Korak's muscles bunched. He ripped one arm free through brute strength. Armor plates, straining. He could have gone for his gun. Instead, he froze. Patel had not moved. He held no weapon. His hands were open, palm out. I do not want to hurt you, Patel said, but I will not let you hurt them. Korak's mind ran fast. He could fight, maybe even kill this doctor. But he could not kill all the drones pouring in behind him. He could not fight every trap in a ship designed by people who thought about worst-case scenarios every day. He could, however, choose how this ended. Slowly, he let the tension seep from his arm. He held it out, letting the band snap around his wrist again. You could have vented this room, he said. You could have frozen us in place with some gas. You didn't. We still might need to treat you, Patel said simply. It is easier to heal a whole person than a half-frozen corpse. Korak laughed once, harsh and short. I start to hate how you think, he said. Deathworlders, always planning to keep things alive, even enemies. Patel's eyes were tired. It is not easy, he said, but it is who we are. In the upper decks, Captain Ward watched the status board shift. Group Alpha contained, the AI reported. Group Gamma contained. Group Beta Korak Vesh's team contained in cold storage. No fatalities detected among boarders. Minor injuries only. Outer space engagement? Ward asked. Sareth checked. 2 raider ships backing off to regroup. 3rd is damaged. Our reflected surges burned out part of its weapons grid. Earlier, Patel had done something subtle. He had used Solace's shields like a mirror. Every time the raiders fired certain kinds of energy at a specific angle, the amplifiers bent a portion of it back along the same path. Not enough to blow the attackers apart, but enough to overload their cheap weapons and sting their hulls. Any sign they're calling for backup? Ward asked. Negative, Sareth said. They're focusing on escape calculations. Looks like they did not expect this much resistance from a hospital. Show them the door then, Ward said. Open a path out. Make sure they know we will not chase. Signaling disengagement vector, Sareth replied. Out in space, the raiders received a clear path. A gap in Solace's firing arc. A corridor of open space, free of ion lance targeting. It's a trick, one of the raider captains muttered on a private channel. Maybe, the other said, but we came for easy prey. This is not easy. We already lost more than we can afford. I say, we cut out before the warships arrive. Well, be cut out before the warships arrive. Back on Solace, Red Protocol stayed active. Shields hummed. Drones held their positions. In the wards, patients lay still, listening to the distant thuds and muffled shouts. Sierra walked between beds, making sure no one had pulled out lines in fear. Is it over? Kale asked. Almost, Sierra said. Our people are smart. The raiders are learning that. Did you kill them? Kale's voice wavered. Sierra paused. No, she said. We stopped them. That is different. Why not? Another patient whispered. They tried to kill us. Sierra thought of the raider faces she had seen once on a station. Thin and hungry. If we start killing every person who makes a terrible choice, she said, this ship will turn into something else. We're here to stop death, not hand it out. So we do the harder thing. We control, we contain, and when it's safe, we treat. In cold storage, Korek stood bound, breathing hard in the sharp air. "You'll hand us over," he said, "to whoever claims the bounty. You'll say you followed your rules. We will report a crime," Patel said. "We will not lie. We will also make sure you are fed, warmed, and treated before the law takes you." Karak studied him. "You think that makes you better?" he asked. "No," Patel said. "It makes us us." The ship around them sang with power, shifting from attack control back toward pure defense. Traps reset, but did not arm. Drones moved captured raiders onto stretchers, with care, checking pulses as they went. Solace had fought like a surgeon in an emergency. Quick, precise cuts, made only where needed, always with the goal of saving the most lives. Now, as the last raider ship began to turn away in space, the real test waited. To hold that same calm in the aftermath, when anger and fear would beg for another kind of justice. Outside Solace, space was lit by fading fire. The last raider ship swung on a wide arc, engines flaring blue-white. Its damaged partner drifted, half-powered, listing away from Solace on a slow, ugly tumble. The third had already broken off, limping toward the dark with sputtering drives. On the bridge, Captain Ward watched the tactical screen. Shield lines pulsed dimly around Solace's outline. Power bars dipped and rose as Dr. Patel shifted energy from one system to another, like a careful hand adjusting medicine drips. "They're charging weapons again," Sareth said quietly. "The last ship. They're lining up for a big shot at our midline." "How much of that can we take?" Ward asked. "Not much," Patel replied over the comm. "Our outer shields in that sector are nearly gone. Inner layers are strong, but a direct heavy hit could break through to 2 major wards." "Can we dodge?" Ward asked Sareth. "Not easily," Sareth answered. "Engines are down to half. We can roll a little, but not enough to avoid a focused strike. They know we're slow." Ward's jaw tightened. "All right," he said. "We do it the other way." "Dr. Patel, status of ion lances, charged to 80%, Patel said. Patel said, "But if I push a full shot through, we risk overheating the central couplings. That could drop power to almost everything." "Could we destroy them?" Sareth asked. "Yes," Patel said, after a pause. "If I push too hard, we could blow that ship apart. We would also risk debris hitting us, and the damaged raider already drifting. People on both could die." Or, Ward said slowly, "Could we do it the way we meant the lances to work? A precise disabling shot. Enough to shut them down, not enough to turn them into sparks." Patel did not answer at once. He looked at his graphs, at the strain on the conduits, at the safety limits. His mind ran numbers against numbers, like a doctor weighing a risky surgery. "It is possible," he said at last, "if we time it with their own power spike. We hit when they fire, redirect their surge back into their own core, and add a controlled push. Their weapons grid will overload. Their engines will trip. They'll go dark. But Captain, if I misjudge, we either tickle them or we tear them in half. Can you live with that risk? Ward asked. Patel thought of the faces on the ship, patients he knew by name. Kale, Lyra, Gibson, newborns lying in warmed beds. He also thought of men and women on that raider vessel who had never set foot in a clean hall, who had grown up in hunger and fear. I can live with taking the risk to stop them, he said. I cannot live with not trying to save both sides when I have a chance. Ward nodded once. Then we do it your way, he said, non-lethal, even now. Sereth, line us up. AI, mark the exact moment their weapons peak. Targeting solution forming, Sereth replied, his 4 hands firm on the controls, monitoring enemy power spike. The AI added, estimate, major discharge in 22 seconds. On the main screen, the last raider ship turned to face them. Head on, its nose bristled with weapon ports. Energy gathered there, a growing white glare. Across Solace, everyone who could feel it felt it. In Ward 6, Sierra's hand tightened on the rail of Kale's bed. Kale's fingers clutched her wrist. They're shooting again, aren't they? Kale whispered. Dr. Patel has the shields, Sierra said. Captain Ward has the wheel. Our job is to lie here and ruin their attack by being too important to lose. Think you can handle that? Kale managed a small smile and nodded. In the observation deck, empty now of visitors, Lyra stood alone. She had refused to go deeper. Instead, she braced herself against the window, watching the tiny, bright point of the raider vessel ahead. If they kill us, she said to the silent glass, I want to see it coming. And if we live, I want to see how. On the bridge, time narrowed. 10 seconds to enemy fire, the AI said. Ion lance charge at 90%. Warning. Further charge will exceed standard safety margins. Push it to 95, Patel said. We'll live, Nessie, if we have to. But we'll live. Understood, the AI replied. Lights on the console brightened, then flickered as power rushed into the lance coils. Deep in the ship, metal hummed like a distant storm. 5 seconds, Sareth murmured. His voice was calm, but the tips of his fingers dug into the edges of the panel. Everyone hold steady, Ward said. Remember what we are. He thought of battle reports he had read as a young officer. Cold words about targets and kills. He had sworn never to write reports like that from a hospital bridge. 3, 2, 1. The raider fired. A blazing spear of energy leaped towards Solace, thick and bright, enough to tear through a lesser ship from nose to stern. At that exact heartbeat, Patel hit the release. Solace's ion lance, hidden along her spine, spat a focused beam of charged particles. It met the raider's fire, halfway, and slid along it like water along a wire, following the path back toward its source. The two energies touched, snarled, and then raced together into the raider's nose. For a moment, everything on the screens went white. Then the light cleared. The raider ship jerked as if punched. Sparks burst from its hull. Its weapon ports flared and went dark. Along its length, power died. Section by section, the bright drive at its rear flickered, coughed, then settled into a dull, unstable glow. Inside that ship, breakers slammed open. Consoles blew. People were thrown from their stations. But the hull held. Impact complete. The AI reported. Engine output at 10% and dropping. Life support still functioning. Hull intact. No explosion. Sareth breathed. We did it. Patel sagged back from his console, catching himself on the rim. Ion lances at 30%, he said, voice shaken but steady. Couplings hot but not melted. Snow, ion. We have no more shots like that in us for a while. Then, it's good we don't need them, Mord said. He looked at the main screen. 3 raider ships floated now. One drifting, damaged from earlier reflections. Another snarled in its own powered-down fields, the last turning away as fast as its weak engines could carry it. Broadcast to all raider vessels, Ward said. Standard channel. Record this. He took a breath. This is Captain Elias Ward of the hospital ship Solace, he said, voice clear and firm. We have disabled your weapons. We will not fire again unless you resume attack. We will not pursue you. We will report your actions to every authority on every route we travel. But if you send survivors in escape pods or call for medical aid, we will answer. That is who we are. Do not mistake mercy for fear. He cut the channel. He asked. None, Sareth said. Just power fluctuations and broken comm bursts. They're trying to fix themselves. They'll either crawl away or wait for someone else to find them, Ward said. Either way, we have more urgent work. He tapped the ship's internal line. Bridge to all decks, he said. Outer threat has been neutralized. Has been neutralized. Repeat. Raider ships no longer able to attack. Red protocol remains in effect for internal security and triage. All medical staff prepare for surge. We're going to have a lot of patience. The words flowed through every speaker, every wall. A long, shaky sigh seemed to pass through Solace. Then the work began. Red protocols shifted from defense and containment to recovery and treatment. Doors that had been sealed for safety now opened in careful order. Drones changed color. Blue lights, turning green as their priority, moved from guarding to guiding and carrying. In Ward 6, Sierra checked her tablet and nodded. Outer threat neutralized, she told the room. That means the loud part is over. Now comes the busy part. We'll be taking in wounded, including some of the people who just tried to hurt us. You may see them pass by. Remember, they're patients now. They get the same care as you. A murmur ran through the beds. They don't deserve it, someone said quietly. Sierra met the patient's eyes. Maybe they don't, she said. But our vow doesn't depend on what people deserve. It depends on what they need. And they need not to die. Kale swallowed. Will you treat Korak too? The big one, if has hurt, yes, Sierra said. We use names here, not labels. Kale nodded slowly. For the first time since the attack, their shoulders dropped a little. In the cargo bay, Dr. Cargo Bay, Marlowe stood beside a line of raiders now lying on stretchers. Restraints wrapped their wrists and ankles, but the bands were padded. Monitors had been clipped to their fingers and ears. Oxygen lines ran under some helmets. These two need the ore, she told a surgical tech. Burns from our stun bursts. Not deep, but over joints. We want them walking when they're shipped out, not stiff and scarred. You're sure? The tech asked under their breath. Marlowe looked at the unconscious raider. Under the harsh gear, the face was young. Lines of hunger cut deep at the cheeks. I'm sure, she said. If we start picking and choosing who deserves our best work, we won't stop. Today it's raiders. Tomorrow it's prisoners. Next week, maybe someone with a crime record or someone who belongs to a rival station. That's not us. We stitch. We set bones. We give everyone the same shot. The tech nodded, throat tight. Yes, doctor. In cold storage, the bands around Korak Vesh's limbs loosened under drone control. He was still bound, but less tightly. His crew lay on gurneys near him, some groaning as they woke. A pair of medics moved in, checking pupils, scanning for internal injuries. You won, Korak said to Doctor. Patel? Patel shook his head. No, he said. No one wins in something like this. We survived, that is all. You beat us without killing us, Korak said. On purpose. You had shots. I could feel them. He looked up, eyes burning. Why? Patel held the raider's gaze. Because if we had killed you, he said, we would have lost something we cannot replace. Korak gave a small, rough sound. What's that then? Your souls? Our purpose, Patel said simply. We are healers. That is the core of this ship. The rules we gave ourselves say, no patient dies if it can be prevented. Today, that includes you. I am not your patient, Korak growled. You are wounded, Patel pointed out. You are under our care. That makes you a patient whether you like it or not. Korak glared at him for a long moment. Then his shoulders dropped a fraction. You are Deathworlders, he said. You grew up where everything tried to kill you. You could have turned into the worst fighters in the stars. Instead, you build this, a ship that can fight like a warship, but chooses not to kill when it doesn't have to. It is not easy, Patel replied quietly. It wears us down. But the alternative wears us down even faster. Later, as Korak's bonds were adjusted to allow proper blood flow and movement, a nurse bandaged a cut on his arm. The touch was gentle, professional. You don't have to be careful, he muttered. It's just a scratch. We're always careful, the nurse said. Scratches kill if you ignore them long enough. Hours passed. The raider ships drifted farther away. A distant patrol vessel, alerted by Solace's emergency beacon, changed course and began to burn hard toward their location. It would take time to arrive, but it was now on its way. Inside Solace, the med bays filled. A raider with a shattered leg lay beside a human miner with a cracked rib. A young woman from the damaged raider ship gritted her teeth as a nurse cleaned burns from her hands, while 2 beds over, a refugee child had a fever checked. In the main surgical wing, Dr. Speet, Marlowe stepped back from a table, letting the auto-stitchers finish a neat line in a raider's abdomen. Sierra asked from the doorway, chart in hand. "We'll live," Marlowe said. Took shrapnel when something blew on their ship after Patel's reflected surge. If they had better armor, they wouldn't be here. Or they might have stayed longer, Sierra replied. Hard to say. They stepped into the hall. For a moment, amid the hum of machines and soft footsteps, there was quiet between them. "Did we do the right thing?" Sierra asked. "Taking this risk, not going harder." Marlowe leaned her head back against the wall. "I don't know if there was a right thing in the pure sense," she said. "We had a set of rules we chose before any of this started. We followed them under fire. That has to count for something." Sierra nodded. "It does," she said. "It means next time, when we tell new recruits what Solace stands for, we can look them in the eye." On the bridge, Ward recorded his report for the patrol ship and the medical union. "Summary," he said, looking into the small recorder lens. "Hospital ship Solace, en route between frontier systems, was attacked without warning by 3 raider vessels. Old protections for medical ships were ignored. Solace responded under Red Protocol, using non-lethal and disabling measures only. No fatalities aboard Solace. No confirmed fatalities among boarding parties or attacking ships. Significant injuries on all sides. We request immediate escort for prisoner transfer and a full inquire into raider activities in this sector." He stopped, then added, more softly, "We also recommend that all hospital ships in frontier zones. This incident shows that old symbols are no longer enough. We must protect our patients without becoming tools of war." He sent the file. Later, when the patrol vessel arrived, its captain came aboard, eyes wide as they took in the damage. Scorched hull scars, sealed claw scars, tired but unbroken staff moving through the halls like a practiced team. "You fought off 3 raiders," the patrol captain said. With this, Ward stood in his plain Navy uniform, hands behind his back. "With this crew," he corrected. "And with systems designed to control, not destroy. You could have just yelled for help and waited," the patrol captain said. "They did not give us that time," Ward replied. "Besides, a hospital that cannot survive on its own in the frontier is a target, not a refuge." The patrol captain looked at the med bays, at the raiders lying among other patients, oxygen masks over faces, monitors quietly beeping. You're treating them, the captain said. It was not really a question. Ward nodded. Until they are stable, then they are yours. Some people won't like that, the patrol captain said. Out there, on the stations, they'll say you're soft, that you saved wolves. Ward's eyes hardened. They're not wolves, he said. They're people who made terrible choices. We're not judges or executioners. If the galaxy wants someone to hate, it has plenty. It doesn't need us to add to the pile. Word of the attack spread faster than the patrol ship could travel. In frontier stations on rusty docks and crowded markets, small holos flickered with news. Hospital ship attacked. Red Cross ignored. Solace fights back. A grainy feed from a distance showed Solace's white hull scarred, but glowing, raider claws hanging limp from her sides. Refugees watched and murmured to each other. Some were afraid. If even hospital ships were not safe, what was? Others felt something else. A thin, stubborn hope. Because Solace had not turned into a warship. It had not answered threat with slaughter. It had survived, and it had held to its vow. On Kale's home station, a group of Tyrene children huddled around a public screen, pointing when they saw a familiar name scroll by. Patient Kale, stable, in recovery. Humans saved Kale, one child said. Even under attack, on Sereth's homeworld, old pilots drank hot, bitter tea and clicked their tongues. Deathworlder doctors once said. The stories were true. They're too tough to die and too stubborn to kill. Months later, in a hearing room far from the frontier, officials asked Korak Vesh about the attack. You could have died, a counselor said. The humans had you under their guns. They had us under their knives, Korak corrected. Not the cutting kind, the kind that opens you and fixes what's broken. He flexed the arm that had been bandaged on Solace. They treated us like anyone else. It was annoying. Annoying? The counselor looked puzzled. They took away my easy stories, Korak said. It's simpler to raid when you think the people on the other side are just faces behind guns. Harder when you've seen them hold the line without hate. Will you raid again? The counselor asked. Korak was silent for a long time. I don't know, he said at last. The hunger will still be there. The backers will still push. But if anyone asks me about attacking a hospital ship, I will tell them this: you will not win what you think you will. They will fight you. They will beat you. And then they will shame you by saving your life. Back aboard Solace, the scars on the hull were slowly repaired. New panels went up over the torn metal, smooth and white again. The red crosses were repainted, brighter than before. Inside, routines returned. Doctors rounded in the mornings. Nurses argued with the AI about coffee machine limits. Children played in the small rec room, building towers of blocks that fell and were rebuilt. Lyra Venn stood once more in the observation deck, looking at the stars. Beside her, Sereth adjusted a setting on the window. You stayed, Lyra said. After all that, you're still out here. Sereth's 4 shoulders rose and fell In a faint shrug, "This is where the hurt comes," Sareth said. "So this is where we stay." Lyra studied the stars. "I used to think humans were just dangerous," she said. "Everyone calls you Deathworlders. Says you can survive anything, fight anything. When the raiders hit, I thought you might snap, that you'd turn this whole ship into a weapon and burn them to dust." "And we didn't," Sareth said. "No," Lyra said. "You fought like surgeons. You cut just deep enough to stop the bleeding." Sareth's eyes crinkled. "That is Dr. Patel's favorite compliment," they said. "I will tell him." Far below, in Ward 6, Ko sat cross-legged on the bed, arm outstretched where the scar had begun to fade. Dr. Sattermonkserdines, Marlowe traced it gently. "How does it feel?" she asked. "Strange," Kale said. "Like it's not mine yet." "Give it time," Marlowe said. "Scars are funny. They start as marks of what hurt you. Later, they become proof that you survived. They tell stories, but you get to decide which story to tell." "What story will Solace tell?" Kale asked. "About its scars." Marlowe looked around the ward, at the bright walls, at the small shield emitters almost hidden in the ceiling, at the gentle glow of the Red Cross symbol on the far wall. "I hope," she said, "it tells this story. We were attacked. We were afraid, but we stayed who we chose to be. We protected everyone we could. We held the line without hate." Ko considered that. "Can I tell it too?" they asked. "You already are," Marlowe said. "Every time someone asks what happened out here, and you tell them you were on a hospital ship that fought back without becoming a warship, you keep that story alive." Solace drifted on, slow and steady between the stars. Its hull carried new lines where raider claws had tried to tear it open. Its logs carried new entries under incidents, injuries, and lessons learned. But its heart, its purpose remained the same. In a universe where even red crosses could be ignored, this ship had proven something fierce and quiet. That healers could stand in the line of fire, use every skill and trick and hidden defense, and still refuse to trade their oath. For easy safety, they would not be untouched. They would not be safe in the old way, wrapped in rules no one followed anymore. But they would be Solace, a Deathworlder ship with the calm of an operating room at its core, a place where even enemies once disarmed were called patients, a bright shape in the dark between systems, moving on toward the next broken place, ready to do it all again, not because they loved danger, but because they had decided that life, any life, was worth that risk.